Young Justice and the 90s X-Men series are two of the most popular and highly praised superhero animated series ever. In their original periods, they were able to dish out compelling stories filled with interesting characters that kept audiences hooked and excited for what next the story had to be saying. And upon rewatch, I noticed that these two shows have very similar situations, but with different outcomes. Both Young Justice and the 90s X-Men series got cancelled when they were at their prime with unsatisfying endings. Both shows had dedicated fans that kept on asking for the series to return and eventually won on their request. However, there is a difference in fans' receptions on this series since their return. Why is it that a lot of fans are super excited to check out the latest episodes of X-Men 97 but have almost forgotten about Young Justice? Well, that's what I'm gonna try to explain in this video. I'm gonna try to break down why X-Men 97 keeps picking up hype and excitement while Young Justice fell off amongst fans. Now, before I start, I would like to say that despite the saucy title of this video, I don't exactly think of Young Justice as a failed superhero series. In fact, I actually still enjoy Young Justice a lot, and when I talk with my friends about the show, I'm sometimes usually the only person who keeps defending the series. I personally still think that Young Justice is arguably still the best DC superhero show right now, both in comparison to the animated and live action departments. However, there are valid complaints and reasons on why fans just don't care anymore for the series as they originally did. And seeing how X-Men 97 has almost the same situation but getting good positive feedbacks, I decided to compare both and find out why. For me, outside of nostalgia and the popularity of the superhero name, the biggest reason why X-Men 97 succeeded after coming back is main character focus. Now, like I said, I still really like the Young Justice series, especially season 4 or Phantoms, and I hope we get the 5th season to conclude the entire story. But season 3 or Outsiders is an entirely different conversation, and that is where I think most of the problems originated from. That's right, Brian, nobody still likes you. I'm not even gonna try and sugarcoat the issue here. The return of Young Justice failed to a lot of fans because the show chose to put focus on characters that nobody cared for, instead of developing original characters of the series and show how they are adapting to their lives after the events of the last season. They instead put their characters in the backseat and try to make everyone pay attention to the new characters that they introduced. And that's really what destroyed most of the hype behind the series. What's even sadder about it all is that the story of Outsiders, like the overall narrative and plot on the season, isn't even bad, but nobody cared because it wasn't with the characters that we were invested in from the start. If the series was done with the characters that we cared for, I'm telling you, a lot more people would have loved the show. Characters like Tim Drake, Cassie, Bart, and Jaime would have benefited a lot from Outsiders. The setup from Invasion was just perfect. Like, think about it, what if instead of focusing on Brian and Violet's relationship in Outsiders, we were instead seeing the relationship drama between Tim Drake and Cassie? You probably might have forgotten, and I don't blame you to be honest, but at the end of Young Justice Invasion, Cassie and Tim Drake started dating each other. Then, in Outsiders, to cause relationship turmoil, Batman chose to leave the Justice League and took his entire Bat family with him. And since Diana and Cassie are staying with the League, it would have been a good opportunity to show the conflict between Tim and Cassie. It would have been a decent way to show how hard Tim and Cassie are trying to make their relationship work, but events and decisions around their lives keep pushing them further from each other. And then, instead of having Forager as the comic relief character, we could have had Bart Allen as the comic relief character. But also, we still try to make him even more interesting by making him a character on failure and guilt. Basically, what I was thinking is making Bart think that it's his fault that Wally is dead. If he didn't choose to leave his own timeline and come to the main one, wouldn't Wally still be alive? You can show how his character is dealing with this type of issues while taking Wally's mantle, and will also still try to deepen his friendship bond with Blue Beetle. Jaime is the biggest reason Bat chose to change the timeline, so he won't go completely evil, and Bat was there for him during his lowest point in Young Justice Invasion. So what I would have done in Young Justice Outsiders is reciprocate that feeling, make Jaime be there for Bart Allen during his lowest point in his life. These are 4 characters that I personally felt should have gotten the attention on Outsiders, and you don't even have to change the overall narrative. Everything still gets to play out the way it originally did. The difference here is we get characters that we already cared for in the previous seasons take center stage and get fleshed out. Unfortunately though, that's not what we got for the series. Season 4 on the other hand doesn't have these problems of season 3. The characters we care for take center stage and get all the attention. My favorite characters ended up being Clark, Connor, Megan and Zatanna because of their moments. Especially Clark and Connor's moments, bro. Like if you're a huge Superman fan like me, then I don't see how you're gonna hate on season 4. Like look at these moments, man.
Sorry, General. Should have waited for your troops. And you should have learned on Krypton. Never mess with the elves.
There's absolutely nowhere you choose to see these moments and choose to hate it. True peak fiction right there. However, considering way less people watched season 4 when it aired, I would like to assume that the damage from season 3 was already done. And this is exactly the point I'm trying to get across. By choosing to force the audience to care for the new characters instead of the ones that we were already invested in, it actively almost destroyed the show and made a lot of people not even watch the new season. Now, in comparison with X-Men 97 and their return, the execution is completely different. 110% of focus is given to characters we were totally invested in the original series, and is packed with a lot of emotional punch. Rogue and Gambit on their tragic relationships, Jean and Madeline having identity issues, Storm going on an emotional self-discovery journey, and Cyclops goes from having it all together physically and mentally to being absolutely broken down and losing it all. He thought he had gained Charles' trust and was meant to lead the X-Men, only to lose it all to Magneto. He thought he was married to Jean, only to realize he's been with the wrong woman. He thought he was gonna do better than his father and be there for Nathan, only for him to get a virus, and the only way to cure him was to send him away. Like they're really putting my goats through the worst type of suffering, especially with the Charles stuff, man. Scott always looked up to Xavier as the best father he ever had, and he thought he had Charles' blessing and ultimate trust to step up as leader of the family they both worked together to build, only to lose it all to Magneto. That's really fucked up. Those last 5 episodes better cook with my guy, man. I want his independent comeback moment to be fucking epic, bro, and make it Utopia style too. But back to my point, and as you can see, fans of the original show and even new audience are hyped to check out the latest episode of X-Men 97 because the main characters are the star and they have so much interesting things going for them. I'm telling you, if the story was the same in X-Men 97, but instead of using the main characters that we already know, the show chose to replace them with characters like Vulcan, Magic, Spike, Penance and Laura, people would immediately lose interest in the series because the focus on the story have shifted to different set of characters. And that's the biggest reason why I think the return of the 90s X-Men series is instantly more loved and appreciated more than the return of the Young Justice series. I could still bring up more minor points to this argument as well, like how Young Justice dependence on too many time skips made fans annoyed, while X-Men 97 just continued from where it left off, and also the animation quality of the two shows. But in my opinion, I would like to think of these points more as nitpicks than actual criticisms. However, I would like to know what some of you guys' opinions on this topic would be. Is this a weird comparison to make? And what are your thoughts on the new seasons of 90s X-Men animated series and Young Justice? And do you agree with some of the examples I made on this video? Sound off your thoughts, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching.
My shape up better, my car faster, my drip better, my clothes fit better, my hoes better, my tattoos better, I'm stronger than you, my bitch thicker than yours, my gun's bigger than yours, nigga, my gun's bigger than yours, I talk better than you, I hustle better, I can get $1 quicker than you, I talk better, I walk better, my shoes fit me better, I get paid more than you.